Good day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Just Fish Outdoors. I'm your host, Dale York, and I designed Just Fish Outdoors to focus on freshwater lakes and streams and to provide information, tips, and techniques, along with how-to segments for catching everything from crappie to catfish. We will also provide tips on equipment, tackle, boating, and much, much more. All of this is aimed at helping you catch more fish and have fun doing it. So join us each week as we talk about my favorite subject, fishing.
And that'll bring us to our special segment today. You know, folks, with school out, there's many parents now trying to plan activities and try to keep their kids busy through the summer. And, of course, there's one activity that I highly recommend, and that is fishing. So today we're going to talk a little bit about, how to get a kid's interest involved, how to teach kids how to fish, and, getting kids involved with fishing, and hopefully give some pointers on how I go about this and perhaps pass some of this on to you. You know, folks, when I was learning how to fish many years ago, we won't go into how many years ago, things were a lot simpler. And, I think that was a good thing that, I learned how to fish in very simple ways. And that's one of the things I preach. I believe that taking a simple approach to teaching a kid how to fish is definitely the way to go. I've learned from my years of experience teaching on the water, as well as from my wife, who's a retired fourth grade teacher, that the kids today are much more educated and informed about many things, many topics than most of us were, when we were their age. When it comes to teaching kids how to fish, also sometimes we as adults try to teach the mechanics or, the advanced classes or the advanced course of fishing rather than, the fun or the basics of fishing. Folks, one thing we really got to understand is we've got to keep it simple. We got to remember the reason we're out there is for the kids to catch fish. And if we try to get too technical, or in some ways, if we try to get too advanced on the kid, they're going to lose interest pretty quick. So, keep it simple. The first thing we'll talk about is equipment. The rod and reel. I highly recommend a spin cast for a kid's first outfit. There's many on the market. Most of them you can go to any of the big box stores and you can purchase the rod and the reel. Already has line on it, and in some cases it comes with a little tackle box with a little bit of terminal tackle in it. But these things are the simplest form of fishing gear, other than a cane pole. The spin cast rig is the way to go. It's push button operation, and like I said, many of them come with line already on there. Doesn't cost the parents an arm and a leg to purchase these things. Many of these items can, with the rod and the reel and the line, many of them can be purchased under $25. So it won't break the bank in doing that. And at the same time, it's not real complex for the child to operate. They can catch on just super fast. I mean, we got 5-year-olds out there that can work these smartphones and computers, much better than their parents can. And in many cases, much better than I can, for that matter. So, they catch on real quick. Just 2 or 3 times showing them how to do it, and they're there. They're going strong. So definitely look at a spin cast outfit. A real easy way to tell, a spin cast reel will be a totally enclosed reel. They usually have a small hole at the top of the reel for the line to go through. But other than that, the reel's totally enclosed. So go look around. These things are readily available in most any store, and that's the basic equipment on the rod and reel that I suggest. The next thing would be how you're going to rig this, or what you're going to rig it with. And, folks really need to look at especially if it's a kid's first fishing trip, getting him involved in catching, area perch, bluegill, brim, rock bass, things of this nature. And what you want to start with there is you want to start with about a number 8 or a number 10 hook, just a regular old run-of-the-mill hook. You need a sinker, and you need a bobber or a cork. And that's basically the rig right there. If you need some help on learning how to tie a knot, and you have a smartphone, you can go to the App Store in 5 seconds. You can download exactly how to tie a knot. It's a fairly simple thing anymore. Or you can send me an email. Send me an email at justfishoutdoors@justfish.com, and that's with a JST, folks. And I'll help you any way I can there. Once you get the hook tied on, then you put your sinker 4 or 5 inches above your hook. Put your bobber maybe a 1.5 to 2 foot above your hook. And when you get your child to throw this thing, you want him to throw it far enough away from the bank that it's not going to get hung up more than 1.5 to 2 foot of water. And I guarantee you it won't sit there very long. The baits that we're going to use on this rig, there's a whole bunch of prepared baits nowadays. Lookalikes. You can go buy some artificial worms, night crawlers. You can buy artificial little nuggets that you can put on there. There's just a host of these prepared baits that you can go to any big store that carries fishing supplies, and you can purchase these. You don't have to go out in the backyard and dig for 30 minutes or an hour trying to find enough worms to go fish with. There's many suppliers out there, manufacturers out there nowadays that make a night crawler or a maggot or all kinds of things that will catch these perch, brim, things like that. So just go to the store, stock up on one of those things. If your child's not real sure they want to touch something that wiggles, these are perfect baits for that, because they are prepared baits. They're artificial, but to a fish, or so they say, to a fish, they smell and look like the real thing, and they will bite them. I've tried some of these things, and they do work. So getting bait anymore is not a problem. So check out some of these. There's like I said, a host of manufacturers. Berkeley Power Baits is one of them, and they just make a whole host of these things that are easily used, and in many cases you can just screw the lid back on and reseal them and wait for the next one. And the next thing we'll talk about is locations. Where are you going to take this child fishing? Of course, the first thing, number one thing is safety. Find a bank, or find a lake or a pond or or a creek bank that is easy to access, that is going to provide firm footing for the child that's fishing, and you want to be able to move around a little bit. So don't just find a 2x2 spot and stick him in it and he can't move. He or she can't move. Find a pretty good open place. It's really hard to beat a pond. If you know of someone who has one, there's several little small city impoundments around the area. Most of them are very fisher person friendly. So, you can go to, maybe in some cases your little community has a pond, or your housing addition has a pond. And these are perfect places to teach a kid how to fish. The most important thing we need to teach them here, or the most important thing we can run at them here, is catching fish. You have to make the trip enjoyable for the kid. If they want to fish 10 minutes and then play with the frogs for 5 minutes, that's that's all part of fishing when you're first getting into it. But really get them hooked, they have to be catching fish. The size of the fish really isn't important. It's the catching of the fish that's important. So the items that I've outlined here, the ponds, the lakes, the creeks, you just can't beat doing that. Also, take some refreshments for your child. Have a cooler that's got some drinks in it, perhaps some chips or whatever other snacks that your child and you prefer. Don't just make them fish all the time they're there. Let them kind of dictate what they want to get into. If they catch a few fish and they decide it's time for a sandwich, that's all right. Sit down on a bank and have a sandwich with them, and talk about fishing. Make it. Remember, it's all about the child. It's all about the kid. Make it really, really enjoyable for the child. And it won't be long before they'll be tugging on your shirt tails when you come in from the office or the shop and say, "Hey, Dad, let's go fishing." I want to go fishing. And then what you'll find within a very short amount of time is you've created a little fishing monster. That's all they'll talk about. That's all they'll want to do is go fishing. And then you got you a fishing buddy for life. Then you've done exactly what you wanted to do. But we've got to make it. You've got to remember to keep it simple for the kids. The Oklahoma Wildlife Department website has some dates. They do fishing, little fishing things around area reservoirs, around area ponds where they invite people out to come and fish, and there's volunteers there. They stock the lake, and there's volunteers around to help with whatever the parents or the child might need help with, whether it's tying a knot, how to get a fish off, or how to bait a hook or whatever. And these are very informal, and they're a blast. They're a lot of fun to do. So if you're not sure how to go about finding the right place, or in many cases the right equipment, because some of these situations the tackle is provided, go on the Oklahoma Wildlife Department website, and there's a place on there that you can find all the dates. Or you can call the Jinx Aquarium. Call the Oklahoma Wildlife Department over at the Jinx Aquarium, and they can assist you in helping to find where those ponds are, what the dates are, and any other information that you might need in that particular area. We really need to remember, why we started fishing and how much we loved the sport in the first place. It was because we were catching fish. Of course, many things are revolved around that, but that's what it's basically, all boils down to. If once again, if we try to teach these advanced topics such as, lure types and uses, how to operate a trolling motor, the different types of reel and rods and equipment used, the kids are just going to lose interest in that. They're just not quite ready for that. That will come at a later date. Kids need to enjoy the sport and learn as they progress. That's kind of how they do that. My wife's taught me a lot about how kids learn and different things with her being a teacher. And I put some of these principles to work in some of my classes and some of my on-the-water schools that I do. And, it's amazing to just watch these kids' faces light up. It's just amazing. I think the most important aspect we can show to a kid is how much fun it is to catch a fish. And like I said, after all, that's the activity that we're trying to get the kid interested in. It's that actually catching that fish, and let's face it, folks, that's the driving force that makes all of us return to the banks of a creek, a pond, or one of our many state lakes. Remember, if it isn't fun, a kid, not going to stay interested in it very long, and they're not going to want to come back and try it again. That's another thing. We have to understand and have to make that day, that kid's first day fishing, we have to put in a little effort. But the whole thing is to make that kid really, really like to fish or have fun on that day. And I guarantee you, folks, once you've had the thrill of teaching a kid how to fish, and watching their face light up when they catch that first fish, and hearing the excitement in their voice when that bobber goes down and they jerk and they catch that fish. As I said before, the size of the fish isn't important. It makes no difference whether that fish is 4 inches long or 4 foot long. It's just amazing. And once you get to that point where you're teaching them how to fish, and you see the results of spending a day with them or spending a few hours with them, you'll just want to do that over and over and over again. You won't get enough of it. I mean, one of my most favorite things in the world to do is teach kids how to fish. I'd rather see a kid catch one fish than me catch 1,000. It's just so much fun, and I get so much of a blast out of it that it's absolutely the most exhilarating thing I can do when I'm on the water is showing a kid how to fish. And there's so many aspects, and we're so blessed here in the state to have so many opportunities to take a kid fishing. It doesn't matter really where you're living, basically on the eastern half of the state. You can just about throw a rock and hit something that's got water in it. You don't have to travel, and to get kids involved with it at this level, it's fairly inexpensive to do. There's more of a requirement for time than there actually is money. And, like my mom used to always tell me, and my dad too, about me when I was growing up. They didn't have to wonder where I was. They knew where I was. It was just a question of which lake I was on or which body of water I was on, because they knew what I was doing. They didn't have to worry about that. And, some of this we can rub off onto some of our kids, and I guarantee you, it does take a life of its own, and you'll really, really, really be glad you did. Show them how much fun it is to catch a fish. That's just something that pays for itself time and time and time again. So if you get the chance this summer, plan an outing out with your kids. If you need some help, if you want to get into a little further, call some of the guides that I talk about here on my show. There's several places, several other guides around the state that love kids, that will just relish the thought of you bringing your child with them. So don't forget to call some of these guys. But as I tell you again, the most important thing to do is keep it fun. We have to keep it fun for the child, because that's what it's all about. If they have a good time, I guarantee you they will want to go all the time, and that's really what you're after. Okay, and on to the next item. I'll give you a Lowrance tip of the week. With summer coming on, some of the fish that we're going to be after are going to be deeper. The fishing electronics are really starting to shine right now as far as how you're going to find fish and how you're going to fish for them. The better your electronics are right now, the more fish you're going to catch. And one of the tips I'll give you, when you're vertical fishing over a school of fish, I highly recommend on your Lowrance unit splitting up your screen and setting up 2 panes. One pane will be the chart, and the other pane will be 2D sonar. Use the chart to see waypoints. Mark the waypoints as you fish a school, and you can almost track them by the waypoints, which direction they're traveling, and it makes it a little easier to stay on top of them. You can also use those waypoints, on future places, future days, to come back to those waypoints to see if there's fish in that particular area again. It's just a great thing to do. Once you're tracking their movements and you're working the fish, pay attention to your 2D sonar. Your 2D sonar has a wider angle cone and will see more area under your boat than what your other sonar will see. Use that 2D sonar along with your mapping screens, and I guarantee you'll be able to stay on that school a little better. And one more thing you may want to do is touch that zoom bar one time, and that'll bring you in to enlarge the picture on your screen and be able to keep up with it and see it a little better, especially in bright sunlight. So try this the next time you're on the water, and I think it'll help you boat more fish. And remember, folks, if you can't find them, you ain't going to catch them. So, feel free to send me an email if you have a Lowrance question, and I'll try and help. If there's something else that you have a question about, don't hesitate to drop me a line. Just Fish Outdoors at justfish.com or on my Facebook page, Just Fish Outdoors. Folks, send us an email. Tell us how you like the show or how we can improve on it. If you have suggestions on a topic, let us know, and we'll try to put a show together for you that'll help you out. And if you would like to know more about Just Fish Outdoors or anything we can do to help, just drop us a line, Just Fish Outdoors at justfish.com. That's with a JST, folks. You can also find us on our Facebook at Just Fish Outdoors. Folks, don't forget to get out and enjoy one of the many lakes or streams. Thanks for listening, and be sure to catch us next week. This is Dale York, host of Just Fish Outdoors, saying, take a kid fishing, and we'll catch you later.